Session 4 of Facing the Enemy. Jesus came into this world to rescue the lost, and that includes both Jew and non-Jew. God's love has always been for all people. We see this in the story of Jonah. Now, Jonah was told to go to Nineveh. Nineveh was the capital of Assyria. Assyria was a mighty empire, but a very wicked one. They were Israel's most dreaded enemy. So Jonah was told to go and call them to repent of their wickedness. But he hated the Assyrians. And so what he did was he went down to the port and he caught a boat that was going in the exact opposite direction. And he went down to the bottom of the boat, or down inside, and went to sleep. This time it was God who sent a wind to stir up the sea. The sailors were afraid because the storm was so bad. They began to all pray to their own gods. The captain of the boat went down to Jonah and woke him up and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. He might help us." Now Jonah knew what was going on. He knew that it was his disobedience that had brought this storm on. And so he told the sailors to throw him overboard. They weren't very willing to do that at first, but they did do it. And as soon as they did, the storm stopped. We know the somewhat fishy story of how Jonah arrived in Nineveh and he called on the people to repent. But when they did, he began to sulk. He didn't want them to receive God's mercy. He became angry when a vine that he was sheltering under from the hot sun was eaten by a worm and it shriveled up and died. And he became really angry about that vine. And God was able to show him, how can you be angry about a vine and not care about a city of 120,000 people? There are similarities in the story of Jesus going to the other side. Both were missions to non-Jewish people. They both they both had to hear the love of God. The one who is being sent on the mission falls asleep in the boat. One because he thinks he's outsmarted God and he's safe. The other because he has every confidence in God. Both are woken with the same thing. Don't you care that we're going to drown? There's a storm, but it's not just a physical storm. It is a storm whipped up by spiritual forces. One was God, the other was the enemy. One storm was stilled when Jonah was finally turned around to go the right way. The other was stilled at the command of Jesus. People of God are called to go into the world, confront the forces of evil, proclaim the love of God. The story of Jesus going to the other side is a little bit like this is what Jonah should have done. God's mission will be carried out. Jonah went in obedience but not in love, whereas Jesus went in obedience and in love. The interesting thing is that the people of Nineveh heard the message and they believed and repented. The people on the other side of the lake saw the awesome power of God and they feared and they told Jesus to leave the district. Jesus came into this world to take back from the enemy the world that he had created. While he's defeated the enemy, and the final defeat being the cross and resurrection, the enemy still wages war against the people of God. We need to make ourselves aware of his strategies and how we can combat them.
We'll walk the land, not so far, and every step will be a prayer. Hope is rising, new day dawning, sounds of singing will be there. We gotta love. In Jesus' name, we shall be strong. The fallen, He saved the children. The nations with your song. Let the flame burn brighter in the heart of the darkness. 39, to glorious day. Let the song grow louder as the love grows stronger. Let it shine. Let it shine.